Welcome to Season 2 of the Now What podcast, a podcast focused on young adults, epilepsy, and the problems they face. I'm Karn, I'm an advisor for the Cameron Voice Foundation, and I just realized from clips, by the way, if you guys are watching online, why I always look like I'm glaze-eyed in the beginning is because I'm reading a script. And even though I've done this intro a million times, I still need to look at the script. I'm a really bad actor, as you can tell. I'm not good at memorizing lines. Anyways, I'll focus. TCBF, as you guys know, honors Cameron's legacy by empowering young adults living with epilepsy through education, support, and community while working to end SUDEP. As always, all of these episodes this season, all of our seasons so far, have been due to our amazing sponsor, UCB. UCB, thank you for making these vulnerable, honest, and curious conversations happen. Each week, we're going to discuss an important topic related to epilepsy and young adults. And this week, we're continuing our double feature. We're going to be bringing on our community advisory board over the next 2 episodes, or there's already 1 episode out, and this is the 2nd episode to be our guests. And this week, we are covering how epilepsy has impacted and shaped independence with Darianne Starr, Jordan Dredcon, Monique Hopgood-Willis, and Nijel Thames. So without further ado, let's welcome our community advisory board. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. I'd love to go around, have everyone introduce themselves, your name, your age, and how old you were when you were first diagnosed. Monique, you want to start us off?
Hey, I'm Monique Hopgood-Willis. I'm 30 years old and I was diagnosed at 19.
Hi, my name is Jordan Dredcon. I am 25 and I was diagnosed officially at 12.
Hi, I'm Nijel Thames. I'm 31 years old, and I was diagnosed at the age of 7.
Hi, I'm Darianne Starr. I'm 25, and I was diagnosed at 14.
I know you guys created this topic, and it's going to be a really interesting one because we're talking about how epilepsy has impacted and shaped your independence. And I actually first wanted to start off with, like, how has epilepsy and your diagnosis shaped the way you saw yourself growing up? Anyone feel free to jump in.
I literally, as you were talking about the subject, I said, "What's that?" Like, because I've to this day, I'm being nanny cammed. I'm being asked questions, just yet like my name yelled across the house because something fell. Somebody just yells my name. It wasn't even me. But when it comes to being or living independently, my parents try to make it as easy as possible for me to live independently.
Yeah.
Or quote unquote normally.
Yeah, and I'm just going to piggyback off of what Nigel just said. I was laughing because I was like, this is me in a nutshell right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's a constant, like, if something falls, they're like, Jordan, you okay? What was that? Of course, it's the dog who goes ballistic afterwards. Or it's even just, like, we have, like, the Ring or Blink cameras around our house for reasons that did not have to do with that, but now it's become that. So there's definitely, and I still live at home, so of course there's that, like, constant hovering if something is wrong. So I eventually have to, say, like, I just need some space. But of course with my epilepsy, it affected my left frontal lobe, which affects, Monique might know this, verbal, so speech. So I can't talk for my postictal or the after the seizure. So I can't say anything. So I'm like pushing people, and this is still postictal. And I just feel bad. But I can't say, like, give me space or I need room. So I walk away. So.
Yeah, I'll even say yesterday, for an example, I felt like a kid because I was going out with my friends. And so I was like, hey, so do you want me to meet you guys there? Do you want my husband to drop me off and you guys take me home? Or do you want my husband to pick me up both times? And so my husband was like, I'll drop you off. And then my friend was like, I'll bring you home. And I felt like I was a teenager asking for the parents, like, to drop me off at home because I can't drive. So, yeah.
Yep, that's me going on a date.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's like when I'm home alone and I don't answer my phone the first time, either when my mom calls me or my boyfriend will call me, they start to like freak out. They think something happened. So then everyone's blowing my phone up and trying to get a hold of me.
Yeah. How do you guys, how do you ask for independence? Like how have you guys navigated that particular conversation? Because, young people in general, I will never forget when I got my like license. I think it was 16, I got it. And I was so angsty about it. I was like, I just want to be able to drive and go somewhere. My mom's like, where the hell are you going to go? Like, what do you do? I shit you not, guys, I literally just went to a Jamba Juice. That's what I did. So eager for a sense of independence. But I know with a diagnosis like epilepsy, it makes that conversation so different. So I'm curious, like, what has that conversation been like? And like, Monique, what has that been like with a partner? Because like, that's such a different dynamic than, that's a more like equitable dynamic than your parent.
Yeah, and it's hard for him because when he was looking for jobs, he was looking for stay-at-home jobs, work-from-home jobs, just so that he's able to help manage the household, picking our daughter up from school, taking her to gymnastics. That even led to my daughter being homeschooled, so that was one less thing he had to worry about, was just taking her to gymnastics. But he doesn't have a office job because he works from home, just so that he can be able to take me where I have to go or take my daughter where she has to go. For him to take me to appointments, it's like having another kid, and or just taking me to the store. I can't go just to break off to get. Yesterday was really my first day in a long time to get independence. I'm like, I need a break. Just get me out the house because I'm usually at home. I don't go anywhere because I don't like asking people to take me places. So I just rather stay home. But he's a great support system. However, I know there was times where he was frustrated because a lot of the good jobs are in the office, especially here in Atlanta. And the office job or work from home jobs are kind of going away since COVID's kind of been gone. So finding a work from home job was harder for him too. So sometimes I think his independence is kind of stripped as well.
Jordan, what about you? What does the conversation look like to even, I guess, even start going out on dates and like asking your parents?
So what is independence actually? No. No. So like I said, I was, officially diagnosed at 12. So of course that led me through middle school and high school and eventually taking a year off and going to online school during COVID to get my certification in dog and cat grooming, so the trades. Mm-hmm. But when everyone else was getting their license, I was at home with seizures. So I never got my driver's license. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't actually want it to drive. I just wanted to have it. Like that's all it is. So, but the cool thing is that now, because I have a mass ID. No one has ever seen it. So I was at a trip last year around this time where we were like comparing driver's license. I'm like, I don't have one. They're like, what? Like, yeah, like I can't get one. So I have a mass ID, and I brought it out. And of course it was like a couple of days before I turned 21. So it's still the one that's vertical. Sorry, I forgot the word for a second there. And so everyone was like baffled to see that there was a vertical license that was a mass ID. So I was like the cool person at the party kind of thing. So I was like, oh, that's cool. That comes in handy, I guess. But it's frustrating in the part of, it affects my parents too. Mm-hmm. Because anything I want to do or have to do, they have to be the ones to bring me. There's no one else. I'm an only child, so there's no like sibling, no partner, no nothing to bring me. So it's always one of my parents, and it does definitely affect them in that way too. Because it's like, okay, well, everything I need to do for school or anything that has to do with anything, like I have to do it on a, like a Monday or a Wednesday or a Friday or the weekend. So going out on dates, it has to be on a certain day that someone's home to help me to get me there. So I can't just ask a date because I don't feel comfortable asking a date to bring me home on the first date.
Yeah.
So long answer, but it's definitely one of those moments of like, what is independence? Because I was brought up where there was nothing, like it just constantly being watched. Yeah. So
Darianne, Nigel, is there something that comes to mind that, people assume is easy when it comes to independence, like to do on your own, but becomes really complicated with epilepsy?
Definitely. I want to say driving. I wish that I could drive, and it's been like that since before I was diagnosed. Like before I was not diagnosed, I knew what kind of car I wanted. I knew, okay, at the age of 18, I've got to go to college and go, and this is before the age of 7. Like, so, all of that, when I was diagnosed and they told me I can't do this and I can't do that, that was all just thrown out of the window. It hurt, and it hurts to even like when someone says, "Oh, like I have to sit in traffic and I have to drive super far." I'm like, "You could drive?" So, so people kind of the small things that people can do on a daily basis that we can't, don't, like, you never know. It's, but when it comes to independence, I think about like me and my little brother. I compare us two. My little brother, quote unquote normal, me, epilepsy. For my 16th birthday, I got a laptop. For his 16th birthday, he got a car. So I was kind of jealous and heated on that. So and also not the best way to get a girl. Everybody's like, "Oh, dating," and I'm like, yeah, I can't pick the girl up on an Uber.
No Uber pool situation.
Exactly, no Uber pool. It's
Darianne, what about you?
So I would also say driving, but in a different sense, I guess. So I'm currently able to drive. I live in Texas, and it's self-reporting here. So you're not supposed to drive for 3 months after you have a seizure. And I think a little over a year ago, I know I talked to some other people in the group about this. I had quite a few seizures back to back, so I actually couldn't drive for about 6 months. And I think I just went so long without driving that now I just have a lot of anxiety around driving in general, that I haven't driven in probably like almost 2 years at this point. So I can drive, but I don't, because I think I'm afraid that I'm going to like be somewhere by myself and I'm not going to feel well, and I'm going to be like kind of stranded by myself, and I'll need someone to come pick me up or something like that, or I'll be on the road and not feeling well, and there's just a lot that I think that also plays into it.
That's really interesting, because it's not even because even if you do have access to a license, there's still the issue of or you can carve out some independence for yourself. You kind of do have to monitor and be like, just because I want to be alone or I want to have some independence doesn't mean I should at any given moment. I still have to like consider my health. What do like solutions look like for you guys when you is it as simple as as we were joking with Nigel, like an Uber pool, or is it what does that look like?
For me, right now, I luckily live close enough to family that they do drive me everywhere right now, my boyfriend as well. But I am working on getting back in the car and driving myself places.
For me, I stay home and I do stuff with music or play video games. Luckily, I'm like I have a time lapse, of course, like not too much screen time, but I'll just do whatever I can. I used to do voice acting, and I kind of stopped that at the moment, but um, that was another one. And talking to somebody is always like a plus for me. And at my age, the friends that I had when I was younger, they don't talk much, but uh, like I met everybody in the foundation, and I'm like, oh, it's like I love having friends, like to talk to, just someone to talk to. And then I have my dogs, so yeah, I'm nodding my head like, yeah, that's a good thing, but yeah, they're puppies.
I mean, hey, I can't complain. Having dogs around is, or like any pet in general, is pretty great.
Yeah.
Monique, Jordan, what about you guys?
I'm a big planner. I have my iPad. I have a calendar. I write everything down. So then I make time for independence. Make time. When you're a mom, you really don't get a lot of independence. Anyways, my daughter's a competitive gymnast, so right now we're in season, and so it's a lot of gymnastics. But because I'm in school right now for my master's online, and I'm not working currently. I did take a job at her gym just so that I could, do something, help out the community. I coach preschoolers gymnastics, which is something giving back to the world of gymnastics. But just something outside of our norm of having that routine, just going and doing something for other kids, hanging out with friends. Like I said, I did yesterday. But really having a routine down does help so that you can be able to manage your time and get that independence when you do need it. Like, okay, yeah, we've done a lot this week. Okay, let's debrief and chill this week. Or I need to go hang out with friends, or me and my husband need a date night, call the grandparents for a babysitter. But yeah, you have to make time to carve out, even if it is to Uber to a restaurant, or Uber to wherever you want to have fun.
I was gonna say that sounds amazing, honestly. I, because of the whole factor of, there's only a few people who can drive me different places. I'm stuck in the house most of the day, but I try to make the most of it. So, I have my dog, and, we have the other dog and then the two cats. So that's great. I'm a bit of a book dragon, so I like to hoard my books. I read a lot, like a lot. It's scary. I read like over 100 books last year. I don't know how I did it.
That is so cool. Actually, I'm like, so jealous. I read 10 last year, and I was like, wow, I'm
know.
really
I had set my goal for like 15 because I was like, that's reasonable. And I'm up to like 20 right now, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. Like the book I'm reading, I'm like, I just can't do it right now. So that gets done. I've partnered with a local businesswoman who owns a bookshop, and I've been bedazzling books for her, and she'll go and she'll sell those, and then we split the profit. So that's really nice to get back into that kind of thing. So that's like my de-stressor. But,
yeah, like kind of creating your own space within the shared space. Mm-hmm. Has it changed the way that you guys navigate disclosure of your diagnosis? Like when you're in a new space, whether it be with your employers or teachers or, new friends, how do you navigate disclosure? And when do you decide? Is it like an immediate thing? Like for my own safety, I'm around people I don't really know. Mm-hmm. I should let them know. Or is it once there's a certain threshold of like, I'll be here for like multiple hours, I should tell them. How do you navigate that?
I absolutely I definitely tell people just because especially when I'm at the gym with my daughter, we do have cameras. They have cameras for safety protocols and things like that. So they're able to see me, which is good too. And just for my own peace of mind, so that they know what to do in case of an emergency as well. Like, you don't have to call the ambulance. You can literally call my husband. That's, you iPhone users click the side buttons and his name pops up. But I like to do it for safety, so people don't go to the extremes of the myths that people always go to with people with seizures, so that they can at least get a little bit of a mini training when they're with me of, okay, this is what to do in case something happens, and then you can do it if that happens. God forbid it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, with me, I go to martial arts. Surprise. A lot of people are like, dude, do you get kicked in the head? It's like, not if you know how to block. It's like, that's the goal. I had brought my book to my teacher's attention. Simon has a seizure, and his son is another student, or not a student, but his teacher, and he wound up giving it to his wife because his wife's a nurse at a school. So I was like, okay, cool, perfect. And he shared the book with everyone in the class, and just said, you know what, everybody, like, read this. You might even be interested in learning more about this kind of safety, because we've had people in our class like have heart attacks and things of that sort. So epilepsy is kind of new to the scene, and yeah, he appreciated it.
Yeah. Darianne?
I mean, what Monique said, really. I do tell other people, just for my own safety. I carry my rescue meds with me everywhere. So I like to make sure that they know where they are, just in case they ever need to be used.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it took me a long time to even accept my diagnosis. So for me, like, it's one of those things where if I'm talking to someone on a dating app, or it's just in general, that's the first thing I tell them is like, hey, by the way, and it helps to weed out people that wouldn't necessarily accept it, or like if things go further and we start dating, like they need to know it's going to be there. Like, it's not going away. Like, it's not going to go anywhere. But what I found interesting as I was listening, my school, which it's hybrid, so it's online and it's in person. To talk to disability there, and then having the person on the other end saying, well, you can have your mom walk you in, or you can have your service dog walk you in if you have one. And I'm just there like, excuse me, I can walk myself in. No one wants their parent to walk them into the first day of, college. But also, you're assuming I'm having this type of seizures, and this is the side effect, and I can't do this or I can't do that. And I have to educate you on my own disability. Or someone saying, like, it's just not going to work out because what I want for my dream is it's going to affect you with all the lights, or it's going to affect you in this way, or it's going to affect you in this way. And it's like, once again, you're assuming. And I'd rather educate someone or have them do their own homework after telling them about it than being on that other end of the assumption, because that's when it really gets it hurts. It does, because it's such this disability, or whatever you want to call it. It's so just not talked about enough. And I ended up doing 2 research papers on it because it's not talked about enough. So hopefully that will go somewhere. But it's just one of those things where it's going to happen wherever you go. It's that, ignorance. And I hate to say it, but it's true. Like, unless it affects you in a certain way, you're not going to care. And that's why I lost a lot of friends in school, because I was so focused on healing and, taking care of the seizures. And I had what I thought was a good group of friends. And then they just eventually were like, we can't do it anymore. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, that was I hate it. I mean, that was around Cameron's death, actually. I sent them a video I had made about how it takes a celebrity to die for us to pay attention. And they're like, what are we supposed to do with this? And so that to me was like, it's not the fact of the celebrity, it's the fact of I have this. This is what I have. This is what I deal with on a daily basis, and you just don't care. So
yeah, it's so frustrating to be, because even if you want to have the conversation and you want to establish safety for yourself, there is, Jordan, as you eloquently put out there, people either make assumptions or they are easily or choose to be easily overwhelmed by the situation when all it really requires is a little bit of like thoughtfulness and consideration and like some open ears. What are some like, assumptions for better or for worse that people make about you and your diagnosis that you feel like you've had to, like clear up along the way?
So what's interesting is I'm good friends with Miles Levine, who made Under the Lights. So for me, that's kind of like, here's a short, watch it, learn from it. Here's the website to, Under the Lights, but also the Cameron Boyce Foundation. Like, here's all these resources I can give you that you can go and learn. And not that we talk about this person much, but my ex actually went out and got certified in first aid for seizures. Didn't even tell me. And he did that for me. And I didn't find out until I found the certificate in his room. So it's those things that are little things, but at least they're willing to learn. And I'm PMSing, so I'm sorry. As I'm talking about this, I'm just thinking of every few years my seizures change, so we never know what's going to happen. And then finally it got to the point of surgery, and then it got to the point of like, oh, you're free for a couple weeks, and then it happens again, and then it's so hard because with going back to school finally after years of not being there, having these accommodations, but then having the disability team tell you, well, don't let them know you have epilepsy, just say you have a condition. And I said, why though? Why do I have to tell my teachers this? Because these are my professors. These are, if something happens over the screen or if I'm in person for a class, they're not going to know what to do. And they're like, well, because the only protocol we have, they don't have a protocol for that. They don't have a protocol for this. The only thing that happens is, even if you had diabetes, the same thing would happen. We would have to call our campus police to take care of it. And then we call the ambulance. Then they're like, why though? Like, it's easy enough to learn, to be educated, even with the smallest of things, just so you're not constantly sending the police officers down. And that's very similar to what happened to me in high school. And so I just I felt like I was reliving it. And that's why I'm getting choked up about it, is because I had a hard life.
Yeah.
And to this point, I never wanted to speak about it until, I met Miles, who encouraged me to even speak about it in the first place. And I've done so much advocating since then, that was back in 2020. And since then I've done so much advocating, not only for myself, but I feel like I can finally speak about it. And I'm thrilled to be able to speak about it finally. So it's something so dear and near to my heart because I have it, but also because of the things and the resources that we have. So, and I'm just rambling on. But
it makes complete sense, which is like, it's a mountain of misconceptions and assumptions that people have. And so you have to be loud and vocal so people can start diving into the nuance of it. And Monique, I noticed you nodding your head along quite a lot with what Jordan was saying. I'm curious what that brought up for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We did a whole episode on the college accommodations, going back to school with epilepsy. And sometimes, unfortunately, they do pick apart. They pick what you can and can't have for accommodation. And it's like, what you can, that is an accommodation for me. It's not going to take away your syllabus or your curriculum that you created. It's, I need this so I can be able to pass your class. And on top of that, kind of going back with the misconceptions, is not every seizure is the same. I don't always have the shaking, the ones you see on TV, and it's so
Right.
dramatic. I mean, I was just watching Grey's Anatomy, and like, that is so dramatic. But, it might be me staring off in the space, which means I miss part of the lecture. And then, I have to go back and re-listen to the lecture or try to get an understanding because I missed it because I was blanked out. And people don't understand that either. Like, oh, you staring? I thought you were just daydreaming. I'm like, no, that's a seizure. And how do you know? We know. We feel it after. You have to give them a little mini medical explanation of what goes through your own body. And, of course, they're not going to understand because it's not them going through it. But it's that misconception that every seizure looks the same, too.
Yeah.
And so then if the professor doesn't see you shaking, then they don't think that it's real.
Yeah, you might be missing the lecture, but you'll always be teaching one about epilepsy in your diagnosis.
Right.
Yeah. Nigel, Darianne?
Yeah. Definitely the misconceptions when it comes to seizures. I was even talking to a football coach. I was getting an interview from him, and I was asking him about schools, about teachers, about certain school districts. Do they require you to learn these things? And he said, you know what? Well, we have to learn CPR. We have to go over that and stuff. And I think I learned about seizures like a long time ago. And I kind of was like, ooh, that kind of sucks. I hope you learn more about it. But he said, yeah, but I learned, yeah, you put them on their side so they don't swallow their tongue. And then that's the swallowing the tongue thing. I get so many people on that. I say, I took anatomy, okay? It's impossible for you to swallow your tongue because just I tell them, just try. And I say, okay, well, you feel that thing right at the bottom of your tongue? That is attached and your tongue goes all the way down here. So if you're choking on your tongue, that's 24/7. And the whole like spitting up, like foaming at the mouth, that's saliva. Those are bubbles we're blowing. So the worst is we're choking on our saliva, not our tongues. And don't stick anything in my mouth, especially your fingers, unless you want to lose it. I literally get just give them a whole lesson. But for people like in schools or teachers not knowing what to do exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I remember taking my accommodations paper to all my professors in college, and most of them were usually a little frightened, hearing that I had epilepsy. But some of them were really nice about it. They were just like, let me know if you need anything. I think I missed 2 exams, I think, throughout my entire college career because I had a seizure. And I think I had to fight with one professor to let me retake that exam because he was kind of like, well, you weren't here, you missed it. So yeah, I think as far as accommodations in school and everything, for me, my biggest problem was it really depended on which professor, how big of a problem I guess they saw it was, or how seriously they took my epilepsy, I feel like. Yeah.
That's good. And right sizing whatever the thoughts that they initially have about it, whether they're minimizing the issue, which it tends to be the majority of people, and really getting them to not only have a clear idea of what epilepsy is, but what your specific diagnosis is like. I want to kind of close out the episode with one of our favorite questions that we've been handing out our guests recently, which is, what is a piece of advice you would give your younger self? Monique, I'd love to start with you, and then we can all go around.
You will be okay. I would give myself, you'll be okay. You're going to navigate just fine. It's going to get harder, but you will make it through it. I would have never thought, even at 18, that I would go back to school and have a whole neuroscience degree, and now getting a master's degree in the spring. It's going to be hard. You're going to have days you're going to throw your books, but you'll be okay. You'll be okay.
That's nice. Yeah. I would definitely say to not be afraid to express that, you have a condition and you need that extra help, because that was something I definitely struggled with. I mean, even now, sometimes there will be days where I'm like, I wish I didn't have it, but if I didn't have it, I wouldn't be here. So,
I would say, you know what, this is gonna make you a stronger person. You're going to inspire, and that you're gonna be like such an inspiration to others, and help others grow to be a better person due to seeing your condition. So don't worry. Of course, there's going to be bumps on the road, but you have to just look past that, just surpass it, because you're going to meet great people along the way.
I would tell my college self to take my diagnosis more seriously and to take better care of myself.
What a beautiful way to end the episode. Monique, Jordan, Nigel, Darianne, thank you so much for being a part of the episode. And more importantly, thank you so much for being in our community advisory board. You guys make such a big difference, help us stay really connected, and continue to inspire all of us. If you're listening and you enjoyed this episode, you want to learn more, you want to check out resources, go to thecameronboysfoundation.org. If you want to be a part of one of our support groups, check us out on Facebook. We have the Now What support groups, a general one if you're a parent, you're wanting to learn more, or if you're a young adult and want to get connected with your peers. And last but not least, thank you to UCB for sponsoring this episode. You guys, we'll catch you guys at the next episode. Thanks, guys. Bye.